Another year's passed. Some that's not with us, that was with us a year ago. But I'm looking forward to a homecoming that I'm going to. I haven't made it there yet, but I'm on my way. I'm going there. People's leaving out every day. I'm making that trip and that journey across over there. But I'm thankful that I have my ticket. It's paid for. I don't know how long it's going to be before I get to go, but I'm going. I assure you I am a-going this morning. Good to have His man with us. Any of y'all got anything on your hearts? Dad, Buster, Dan? You sure? Y'all pray much for us this morning. Let's go to the last chapter of the book. It's called The Preacher, which is Ecclesiastes. As I was reading this morning and studying and meditating about the service, honestly, I thought I was going to be in other places on other subjects and things, but I come to this chapter, and I always start reading somewhere and just talking to the Lord and meditating. And I mentioned it here the other Sunday, how this church, it's sad but true, how there's a lot of widows and widowers in here. And things come in our lives, and God brings things to pass to give us some more unction for things that are eternal instead of things that are temporal. And as I read down through here, I couldn't have picked a greater chapter in the Bible that just highlights the day in which we live in. I mean, as Solomon was recording it, and you know that Solomon was the wisest man in the world, but the Bible says in Peter that men penned it down as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. Although Solomon was wise, Solomon is not the one putting it on paper. God is putting it on paper by the hand of Solomon. And he's writing down some things here that will pertain to me, to you, to everybody born of a woman. None is shunned of it. We're all in it. We're all subject to it. You can't escape it. If it ain't come, it's coming. But I like how he starts it off. And I was thinking as the brother sung the song about I have not forgotten, how it goes right with this. Now I'm going to read this whole chapter, but there's just a few things I want to get out of it. But I want you to listen, follow with me, read with me, and just let God speak to you through the words of this chapter and see, put it in your life, what you've been through, what you're going through, where you're at, and let God speak to you. The first verse, it says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few. And those that look out the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, when the sound of the grinding is low. And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of the music shall be brought low. Also when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way, and the almond trees shall flourish, and the grasshoppers shall be a burden, and desire shall fail. Because man goeth to his lone home, and the mourners go about the streets. Or ever the silver cords be loosened, or the golden bowl be broken, or the pitcher be broken at the fountain, or the wheel be broken at the cistern. Then shall dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto God who gave it. Vanities of vanities, saith the preacher, all is vanity. And moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed and sought out and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words, and that which was written was upright, even words of truth. The words of the wise are as golds, as nails fastened by the master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. And further, by these, my son, be admonished of making many books. There is no end. And much study is weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. You've tried to figure out what your life purpose was. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God. That's his first thought. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Let us pray. Oh, Father, it's again we bow on the head this morning, Lord Jesus. Father, I pray this day and this hour that I'd look upon us with mercies, Father. Father, I pray search us out and purge us, Lord God. Father, I pray search this congregation, Father. Meet their needs. Encourage them, strengthen them, Father. Father, you know the needs, Father. We need revived, we need renewed, we need refreshed, Father. Our lost, they need saving, Lord God. Our families, our homes need joined back together in love and unity, Lord. Set our ministers as flames of fire. Father, I beg it this day, Lord. Look upon us. Anoint the reading thy word. Use us a little while and hide us behind the cross. And we'll ask it in Jesus' sweet and precious name. Amen and amen. Now I want to draft just one little verse out of Revelations. It said, you felon, from you lost your first love, return back to it. Remember from whence thou hast fallen, and return. And why I said that is because as the epistles started, the apostles started writing the epistles, every one of them starts in one place. I'm going to stir your pure minds by way of remembrance. And right here Solomon, he writes down, he said, you young men, remember God before the evil day comes. And I'm afraid that so much has come and clouded our minds and hindered us down and darkened our eyes and dimmed us down that we have no desire no more. We have no pleasure no more. But remember from whence ye come from whence God met you in the way. Remember the day when you thought death was covering you and life come by and raised you up out of that pit. Remember the joy, the peace that God gave you. Amen. The evil day comes, and it shall come upon all. He said, remember it. I remember the time when God saved me. I wanted the world to know that He had done something for me. With joy on my face and gladness in my heart and tears of joy in my eyes, I would testify of what He done. Run to and fro. Tell them people. Can you remember that? You remember the day? You remember the day you met Him? Rejoice in Him before the wicked days come, and they have come. That's why joy's dimmed down in your life. That's why your eyes has been dim. That's why love don't spring forth. We do things because it's our duty and our responsibility when we used to do it for joy. I'm just putting it right down where we're at. I want you to know you search your heart out and your life out, and you think and you be honest with yourself, and you tell yourself why you're sitting here this morning. Tell yourself why you're walking through the community, why you help people out, because you think it's your responsibility when you ought to be joy and giving. They have no desires, what it said. That's what I wanted to pull out of this whole chapter. Is that one little line, that one little verse that says that there is no desire. Because I want you to know something. If you're going to be Christ-like, means to be a Christian, to be Christ-like, I want you to know what he said. He was walking to an upper room, and as he was going to that upper room, he knowed the tortures that laid after that upper room. He knowed the cross, the beatings, the scourging, the plucking of the beard, the mockery, all that they was going to do. And he looked at his disciples. He said, with great desire, I have desired to eat this with you. And he was talking about in death. In death. He said, I've desired to eat this with you. That's the love of God. When death or hard times comes our way, our desire dims down. But God stood up. He said, I've been raising the dead. I've been opening the blinded eyes. I've been cleansing the leopard. So I could get right here. And with great desire, I've desired to eat this bread with you. The night you got saved, with great desire, he desired to eat that bread with you. With you. In death, he's like, I know, you don't know what's going to happen, but I know why I'm here. I know what's going to lay out in the morning. I know what's there. He said, but with desire, to desire something is to be passionate over it. What are you passionate over? It's sad to say, but true. I just read you this chapter, and if you'll read it again, if you didn't catch it, what it's telling you, just a rough outline, is when death touches your family, desire and passion leave. You find nothing pleasurable no more. How can I have joy? I could go travel the earth, but if I can't go with those that I love, what's the point? And what I'm telling you, even David come across it. He said that we come down to the river. And he said that they hung their harps upon the willows. And said, how can I sing the songs of Zion in a strange land? I want you to know, with God, pick them up and proclaim the goodness. For this is not the end. This is not the end. Remember from whence thou hast fallen, and return. I have a desire to sit down at the table of God in heaven with those that's gone on before me, but most of all with Him. Do you sing like you once did? Do you testify like you once did? Do you pray? Do you witness like you once did? Are you happy in doing it? The Queen of the South, Bathsheba, come from the far parts of the earth up to see King Solomon. And when she got there, she told the king, she said, the half has not been told. Thy servants serve thee with joy. How is the world seeing us serve God? How is the world seeing us serve God? How are you serving God? Are you serving Him by constraint? Why does these things come? Why does hard times come? Why does sickness come? Why does death come? Why does people leave before their time? Why does the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper? Because the Bible said that God shall bring all works into judgment, whether they be good or whether they be bad. And what He's going to do, He'll let you go and enjoy His creation and His life that He has built on this earth. He'll let you have pleasure in it. Then the evil day shall come. Why does it come? Because He with great desire has desired to eat that bread with you. Because Jesus said, if you're going to follow me, take up thy cross and follow me. Deny thyself, forsaken father and mother and sister and brother, and take up thy cross and follow me. Die out to your will. Why does the evil day come? So we can eat bread with Jesus. He didn't eat bread when He raised Lazarus from the tomb. He said, loose him and let him go. He didn't eat bread when He opened the eyes of blind Bartimaeus. He didn't eat bread when He sat down on the mountain and gave the Beatitudes. But in the valley, the shadow of death, He broke bread. He said, take and eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. It said that He blessed it and He brake it, is what He said. What I'm telling you is He brings you into hard times. He brings you into that valley. He brings that evil day upon you so you can meet Him one-on-one. He can have your undivided attention. That He can have order in your house. Because listen, He said He would wink at their ignorances. But when the light was given into a dark place, He said, now that I'm come into the world, they have no cloak for their sin. Because light sprang up in darkness. Think about it. Think about your life. Do you have pleasure in things today that you did 10 years ago? No. Why is that? We're getting older. We're getting older, and see, as long as you're having joy in heaven here on earth, why would you desire that? The devil is the creation of God. And he has one job to do, and he does it well. And that job is to come down and buffet mankind to get our attention. When God removes His hedge off of you, I mean, He let me run wild. I drank. I partied. I did all manners of things. God winked at my ignorance. He kept me from being destroyed and overthrown. But He appointed a day that the devil would meet me in the way. And when he met me, he tore me down to get my attention. He tore Job down to get Job's attention. Why do you serve God this morning? Why are we serving Him? You got to have a reason to serve Him. Is it because you think He keeps you safe? Is it because He blesses your account? Is it because you think that by serving Him He's going to keep you healthy and give you a long life, that your life will be blessed and go? The righteous shall suffer. Do we serve Him for a benefit or not? He took it all from Job, brought hard times upon him. And Job got down and said, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I want you to know it's the hardest thing I've ever faced, to get down into the will of God and still wrestle with it. I told my wife, me and her had tried for kids for many years. And I told her, I said, will you love God if He don't give you a youngin'? I said, will you still love Him? Because you got to be in it to endure it. If healing don't come, will you still love God? If death arise, will you still stand on the rock that is higher than I? Because how can I preach eternal and try to bless you temporal? If you want heaven in your temporal life, how can I convince you of eternity? Think about it. Think about what you used to do that you have no pleasure in today. Think about the joy in your youth that you used to walk through and enjoy with spouse and with family, with moms and with dads and with brothers and with sisters. And then God shows up, sickness shows up, and all of a sudden the pleasures of life start dwindling down and dwindling down, and you find yourself in a cave, in a dark place, where your windows is darkens what He's saying, and your eyes is dimmed down, and you have no desire. They call it Great Depression. But while you're in the midst of the battle, you don't realize, because you're just trying to survive from one day to the next. You can remember the days that you used to go and do what you wanted to do and enjoy what you used to do. But now you're at a place where you're just trying to survive. And you ain't got time to worry about back there or ahead. You're trying to make it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, because you're trying to survive. Why? Because we got to have a transformation from here to there. You can't still enjoy everything here and desire there. See, God gives. God gives free will. He gives joy. He blesses the ungodly just like the righteous. He'll let you go, the wickedest man in the world. He'll let them go. He'll let them do. He'll let them be what they want to be. They'll be their own lords. They don't have to bow a knee to nobody or answer to nobody. They can travel the earth and enjoy it. They can hunt. They can build. They can make money. They can do all manners of stuff. But God's got a day. And when that day comes, He calls it the day, the evil day, that He's going to step into their life and draw them down and say, now, see, there's nothing like death that will slap you with the reality that we're nothing. See, tomorrow, after someone passes away, give it about 6 or 7 months or a year or two, and you'll start rolling, and you'll start moving, and you'll start getting into an action of an everyday life. It ain't what it used to be. You know it's never going to be that, but you're still trying to move, and it's just everyday normalcy. But then when God reaches in close and jerks them away from you, or reaches in close to that and you love, and makes it sick, then you realize The mightiest man in the world, from the president, Donald Trump, all the way to the least under the bridge down there in Atlanta. God's going to touch their family, and He's going to bring realization to them that they are not eternal, that this life that they're living is not going to last forever, that they're nothing mighty. It said even the mighty shall bow down unto it. Is that not what I read to you? It says, in that day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. Do you know what that means? I'm going to tell you. I see many people right in here. I've walked it. Being in my family, being a husband of my wife, and being in my family out there, if things come into my family, I have a responsibility to try to take care and handle that. Things come into my wife or in my house, it's my responsibility. I'm the keeper of my house. It's my responsibility. But when there's one stronger than me knocks on the door, what I'm telling you, you better submit to Him. You better give it to Him before He shakes your foundation. I don't care how big you think you are, how strong you think you are, how safe you're going to keep your house. He's stronger than you. You can think it, that you can keep it, you keep them safe. And then He knocks on the door. And see, it leaves you feeling vulnerable. That's what death and sickness does. It leaves you feeling vulnerable. You realize that you're not as mighty as you thought you were. You're not as strong as you thought you were. You didn't have everything in control like you thought you did. I'm going to have a house and a family, a wife and some kids. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to lay up, put our kids through college. We got all these plans. But never once did you go to the mighty man and ask Him if that's the plan He had for your life. Because you can do your way, your will, your thoughts. But there's coming a day when His will be introduced to you. Think about it. I can tell you, I'm just being as honest as I can with it. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves. When all this come into our family and things like that happened, especially when my little mom seen things like that, seen an innocent child taken and drowned and just stripped right out of this earth, watching the innocence and the righteous leave out of here so quickly and suffer the way they suffered. You realize you can't keep your house. You realize that you're nothing. I realize that I stand here today by the mercies of God. The Bible even said that we would all, that includes you and me, should be as Sodom and Gomorrah if it was not for the mercies of God. Should be overthrown. It don't matter how much knowledge you got. It don't matter how ignorant you could be. It don't matter how strong or how weak, how healthy or how unhealthy you are. God's in control. God's in control. And until you get that lined up in your life, you're going to find yourself kicking against the bricks. And you cannot go forward at all doing that. God controls it all. It's in His hands. Seen two go in a pond, two come out. One died and one lived. Who made that call? God. Here sits a man that the world said, oh, Mom said he wasn't going to make it. Lived. Who makes that call? God makes that call. You don't choose. You can have the best doctors, all the money in the world, and it still won't keep you on planet Earth. Why do we fight so hard against something that we know will overcome us? It's going to overcome. He'll shake you. Have you ever had your house shaken? Like Diane was, I'm talking about gut-wrenching shaking. When you realize that you're just a speck on a big earth. And the earth is just a speck in a mighty space. And that God thought enough of me to send His Son down here because with great desire, He desired to eat that with me. He said, son, I can't take it away from you, but with great desire, I'm going to walk through there with you. We got to go from here to there, and the parting is hard. This is a homecoming day. I asked the Lord why He had this on my mind. I guess it's fitting, because in order to have a homecoming over there, I've got to have a home leaving down here. Remember the Lord in your youth. Do you have a foundation that when everything crashes around you? Think about this. Psalmist David, his friend who was supposed to be his friend, King Saul, had become his enemy. And he was having to flee from him and run from him. He was his friend, had become his enemy. The man who could dance and shout no matter the circumstance. Still, he sung in the presence of his enemy. He danced. Even when his own wife despised him, he still danced. You might have thought he was a weak man or a feminine person, but he was a man of war. He would dance till he come out of his garments. And see, I like people, and I'm going to testify as a man right now. I like people that when they do something, they do it with everything they are. This dabbling and piddling and stuff, why fool with it? You're wasting your time, your money, and your effort. If you're going to do it, be good at it. If you're going to spend time doing it, be good at it. Whatever it is. If I'm going to serve God, I want to be good at it. If I'm going to serve Him, I want more than just a warm bench with my name on it. I want more than just a wish list laying on the altar of what I'd like to have from God. I want to serve Him, and I want to do it good. And how can I do it good? If I do it my way. Because I messed up before I ever met Him. That's the reason I got to go God's way. I got to go God's way. When the keepers, are you keeping your house today? I want to ask you that. Are you keeping your house today? If you're keeping your house today, you're going to meet a keeper one day. Because what I'm going to tell you, as David growed up, as David went out and was interchanging from a child into a king, you know what he did? He kept sheep. That's what he did as a child for his father. When the father sent him to the battlefield, what did he do? He left them sheep with what? The keeper. He took that cart of food to his brothers, walked up our battlefield, was talking with his brothers, and the giant come out and was blaspheming God and the armies of Israel. And it said that he left that cart with the keeper. Have you left anything with the keeper? See, if you're still keeping your house, they're stronger than you are. You can't even handle the devil. God can. Moreover than that, I'll give you one better. You can't handle yourself. But God can. So why not leave your house with the keeper? Let this strong man, this first man Adam, let this strong man bow down. Bow down. See, sickness and death and bad and evil days puts us on our knees. We bow unto Him. Every knee shall bow. every tongue shall confess that He is Lord of lords and King of kings. See, at least I had a mom and dad that left me with a keeper. He didn't do nothing with me in what they considered their time. But in His time, the keeper's time, the strong man's time, He brought me out, and He's keeping me today. I promise you beforehand, there wasn't enough of you to keep me in church. Why? I had no desire to be there. But today, since the keeper got a hold of me, and you know what it took? You know what it took? It took me laying in my house and on my couch for about 5 months, not being able to do nothing, for the keeper to get my attention, to let me know He brought the evil upon me and brought me to my knees. And let me realize that there was something stronger than me walking around. Put me in my place that I'm man and He's God. But when I submitted to the keeper, see, He's still keeping that flock of David's. It was never interchanged to nobody else. It was left with the keeper. You know what was on that cart that was left with the keeper? Do you know what was in that cart? Bread and wine. And it was left with the keeper. It was left with the... It ain't been put in nobody else's charge. It's still with the keeper. He even said with great desire. I can't get off it. I'm telling you, desire. Before, I had no desire to be in the house of God. I done told you, you couldn't have kept me in here. Mom drugged me. She'd whip me. She'd keep me. She kept me till I got out from under her wing, and then I was gone. I was keeping myself. See, a mom is a keeper of her flock, her children. The Lord walked up and looked at Jerusalem and said, it said He wept over the city. And He said, I would have been as a hen with her brood, and I took you under the shadow of my wing. If you'd only knowed your peace. I want you to know your peace this morning that is due you, that God can give you. But from that time forward, God gave me a desire to be at the house of God. And there ain't enough to keep me out of the house of God. Because I realize that Tennessee Gap, 2000 Tennessee Creek Road, is going to be given to somebody one day besides me. Whether they like it, whether they don't, it's going to be theirs, and they're going to do with it what they want to do. Even if you hand it down to your children and their generation eventually, it's going to change hands out of your family to somebody else. If time tarries that long. I don't know, time's getting short. Where's your desire at? Has hard times took your desire away from you? See, you see that picture back there on the homecoming? People in that day had a desire to be at the house of God. An old wooden building with dust flying, no carpet, no air condition. Yet by the hundreds, they flocked to the house of God because they had a desire. They realized and acknowledged. Why does it say fear God? Why was when He said, let me give you the conclusion of the whole matter, the first thing He says is fear God. What does the Bible say about the fear of the Lord? It's the beginning of wisdom. They had enough. When you don't know, you're ignorant. But when you have knowledge that there is a way and a better way, when you have a knowledge that there's a way of love and peace and life, wisdom will tell you to accept it. Ignorance will tell you to walk away. That's just the truth. He said, fear God. If you fear God, if people fear God, that alone would settle what the problem is in this world. If you fear God, you wouldn't murder nobody. There would be no school shootings. If you fear God, there'd be no mothers aborting their babies. If you fear God, you wouldn't have kids killing kids. If you fear God, you would not speak evil of your brethren. If you fear God, you'd be at His house. You'd be at His house. You'd be at His house. For this is the house of prayer. This is a house of prayer. The fear of God. Let me back up here. It says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, and the sound of the grinding is low. I've never thought about that much. But now, these days in which we live in, I can walk up and down the streets and meet people at the store or at the lake. You don't get the smiles that you used to. You don't get the joy. It's said that the doors would be shut up in the street. You don't hear the kids shouting and singing like they used to as they walked up and down the aisle. Joy is leaving our country because the love of many is waxed cold. And where should love be at? It should be at its strongest at the house of God. Today you can walk up to people, how's your day? And it's a list of how bad it's been to them. They are walking in their evil day. How can I get my harp off of that willow? In the flesh you can't. In your life you can't. But I'm going to tell you how to get joy in your heart. I want you to know how to get some peace in your life. I don't walk by sight. Of course, if I look at all the problems of this community and of our country, I'd be the most miserable, depressed man that there ever has been. I don't look into the things that are seen. But by faith, Brother Dan, by faith, Brother Dallas, when he took Mom, by faith I walked up and said, I'm going to see you again. By faith I said, I'll see them healed. By faith you can have joy in your house. It takes faith. No one can touch God without faith. It takes faith. That means if you're only attended unto what you can see with your natural man and your natural eyes, you can't touch God. But if you'll step outside of this first man, Adam, you know why he said, remember God in your youth? Does anybody know? Dan, before the evil days come, you're old. This outward man has seen some evil days, ain't he? But that spirit that's within you, it still has a desire on it. What did he tell Eve? He said, listen, your desire, Eve. Can anybody tell me? Your desire shall be unto thy husband. Though the outward man gets old and perishes, that inward man is renewed day by day. It still has a desire. That's the reason we don't fight with flesh and blood. Powers and principalities of the air, the mind. That alone proves you're eternal. Listen, you still have desire. You'd still like to get in them vehicles and fly up and down the road if you were able. You'd still like to run after them bear dogs if you're able. It's still down in there. That desire is still in there. That soul is eternal. It does not age at all. So let's stir our pure minds by way of remembrance and let the desire that's down in there. It's in there. You remember the desire. You could not wait to get to the house of God to sing. You couldn't wait to get to the house of God to hear the preacher. You couldn't wait to get there to stand up and testify of what God done for you that week. Let that desire come out of you before God brings more evil. Because He said, remember thy first love, from whence thou hast fallen. Repent and do thy first works. What was my first works? I wasn't up here preaching to Christ. I was just telling the world that I had got gloriously saved by the hand of God. And I rejoice. Even when I'd walk up to them and say, let me tell you what happened. And they'd say, I don't want to hear it. I could still walk away with a smile. Today we let things like that get to us because of the wicked day. It says on down here, and when they shall be afraid of that which is high. High. Well, what's high? And why would I be afraid of that which is high? When He shows up, when that which is higher than you shows up, there's some fear to be turned over into the hands of a living God. Because you realize when you get in His presence that you ain't been everything you thought you was. Even Brother Job, he sat there and talked to his friends, and even by himself, he said, I desire to speak unto one, and let it be known unto him how he held his integrity all the way through every trial. But when God showed up and started asking Job questions, Job said not a word. I've had people say, well, I'm going to ask him about this, why this happened to that one, why this. When you see him, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There's so much in this, but I'm trying to hurry on down here. And fears shall be in the way. How many today? Be honest. How many? Every day they've been a fear in your life. Because every phone call's been bad. Every report's been bad. There's a fear. There's a fear over your family because hard things has happened to good people. There's been a fear in your life that at any moment you could die or someone close to you could die. You've had that fear over your head. You've lived under the shadow of its wings because bad things has come under your direction. You have a fear every day that the next phone call could turn your world upside down. You're living under fear. You're living under fear. How many? Be honest. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Have you lived under fear? I have on a daily basis. Until I'd have to get this earthly man out of my way. Because I want to know what I want you to know. God had to remind me, but I want you to know. What does away with fear? The Bible says, Brother Dallas, not the love of a husband to a wife. Not the love of a wife to a husband, or to a dad to a son, or son to a dad, or a brother to a brother. But the Bible says that perfect love casts us out all fear. Well, preacher, what's perfect love? Look behind the pulpit. Look upon the wall. Cast your cares upon me. For I care for you. That is perfect love. That died for you so you wouldn't have to live under fear and wouldn't have to submit to the fear of death. He took the sting away so you could walk up to death's door with joy. I don't like seeing people miserable. I don't like seeing people in torment. And people let these things torment them and bind them down. I've wrestled with it myself strong, but I come to realize I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I know who holds tomorrow. He's brought me this far, and I have a destination, and He's taken me there. And I've got to get rid of this mortal body to get there. But I don't have to live under the captivity of fear anymore, because He come to set the captive free. And I want to pull them together now. I told you about the keeper. I told you about your fear. And if all of you be honest, y'all got fear in you over something. Any of us here this morning could be absolutely eat up in cancer and in 3 days' time be buried. I've seen that happen. Any of us. Fear, perfect love. Cast us out all fear. If I only put my people, when I say my people, my wife, my dad, my brother, his wife, their family, all my immediate family, and then y'all, and then this community, say, I claim a lot of people. I even claim the United States. When I put my people, but if I only put my family under the love of dad and mom, they still have fear. I have fear. Because I know there's stronger things in this world than dad and mom. But if I'll put my people in the hands of the keeper, then that perfect love that He has, that He died for my people before I ever knew my people, that perfect love will keep them against all harm. The problem we have today is we want to keep them by our power, constrain them by our love, but God's bigger than us. I can't sit in the darkness of your house at midnight when you're on your knees a trembling and a shaking and a talking to God sincerely about your family, that there's things happening that you don't understand and you need help, you need strength, and I can't be there. My love can't pull you through that. But when the keeper shows up and that perfect love shows up, He don't even have to take you out of the problem. Just if He shows up, you feel better. If He just shows up. If He just shows up. I don't know. I'm just putting it down the line for you. I know how it was with me. When the hardship comes, phone call after phone call, death after death after death. It seems like we're still going so quickly downhill. You can't get a breath up. You can't breathe from one till you're done into another. And I want people to know today that there's a place you can put your people and have peace with it. Put it in the keeper. The keeper has perfect love for them. You don't. You either have a dad's love for a son, mother's love for a son or daughter, or spouse love. God has perfect love for your people. And if I'll step out of mortal, step out of what I see, and if I'll step in to this second man, Adam, which is a quickening spirit, and have faith in the keeper and in His love for my people, oh, He could turn the world upside down. He could turn the world upside down. It says here, it says, "If fears be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish." I thought about that. Ain't it amazing? how bad of times we live in, but yet economically we're flourishing. Money-wise, we're flourishing. It's never been better hardly in the United States as far as for being able to work and supply for your family. But the grasshopper becomes a burden. The grasshopper becomes a burden. The Bible said the cankerworm. What the cankerworm didn't eat, it'd send the locust. What the locust didn't eat, the grasshopper would eat. That's saying that when he brings the evil days in your life, he's going to start tearing you down, and he's going to little by little, he's going to bring you to your knees. If the cankerworm can't do it in your life, he'll send the locust. If the locust can't do it in your life, he's going to send the grasshopper. And by the time that gets done with you, you're going to be laying on the ground, and the Bible said, begging for death and not able to die. It got so hard. But I want you to know this morning, that's not the end, because the Bible said, if you put in the keeper with a perfect love, he said, I'll restore unto you the years that the cankerworm ate, the years that the locust got, and the grass. I'll make you the head and not the tail. He said, I can restore it all back to you. How? We need health. Do y'all realize we need health? We need health worse today than we've ever needed it. How can we get health? I mean, I've never seen a debate so strong on health insurance as it's ever been in the last few years. But we need health because our people's sick. We're sick. There's stuff happening that's never happened before in this country. We're sick. We need some. How do we get health? He said, if my people, whose people are you? If my people, whose name are you called? Do you still go by the Owen family or the Galloway family? That are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. Turn from their wicked ways. Turn. You can't leave one undone from their wicked ways. I would hear from heaven, and I would heal their lands. Amen, brother. I'm trying to hurry here. All right. It says, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home. That means he dies. He's going to his eternal home. And the mourners go about the street. Has your desire failed you? Has your desire failed you? Have you got a desire to be at the house of God? Have you got a desire to talk with God? See, if you want a relationship with God, you're going to have a relationship with God's people. And if you got a desire to have a relationship with Him, you're going to desire to have a relationship with them. And you're going to desire to be at the house of God. If your desire is not to be at the house of God or have a relationship with Him or with them, look out. The cankerworm's got through, but the locust is on its way. The cankerworm's got through, but the locust will be on its way. Because God built this earth, built that sun and that moon, built your mom and dad and your family, your body, your lungs, your heart, your brain, your eyes, your ears, your legs, your limbs. He built it all to have a relationship with you. Not with just me, but with you. I preached here sometime a while back on the creation. which there's a whole lot I'd like to get in on creation, but I want you to know, I told my wife the other day, I had a friend of mine build a table for me and got him to sign it. Every masterpiece has the painter's signature on it. I said, do you realize that God signed his masterpiece instead of with just a signature, Brother Dan? He put his image on it. It wasn't just a signed signature. It was his image he put on it to say, I've been here. Where's your desire at this morning? Knowing your desire could tell you exactly where you stand with God. All you got to figure out is what your desire is. Right now, do you desire to go out here and eat? You desire this preacher to hush up, let's say blessing, let's go eat. It ain't to have a relationship with God. I want you to know we're in hard times. I hate hard times. We're in them. I hate seeing people suffer. It drives me crazy. If you thrive off of other people's suffering, you need to be the first one in this altar. It ought to break your heart, because if God dwells in you, perfect love will dwell in you, and it will humble the outside man. See, you don't understand. Davis is still here, and then there's a child of God in there. And when somebody comes up and slaps Davis, Davis gets mad, but the child of God humbles Davis down. Keeps him from doing something crazy. Where's your desire? Stand on his feet. Where is your desire? Remember your youth before the evil days. You know, when they went to rebuild the temple, God told them, said, seek you out some elders. And it said the elders walked up and looked at that temple and they went to weeping. Said they remembered the glory that was there before. What do you remember this morning? Can you remember it in your life? Can you remember it in your life? The glory. Do you remember the glory of God just overshadowing you, talking to you, speaking to you, getting you up of a night, getting you to pray? The glory in you. Is it still there? Where's your desire? Is it still there? Has the evil days took your desire away?